Hi and welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to be looking at 3 reasons why you should quit your job and start a community interest company. My name is Kelly and I am a CIC and grant funding specialist consultant. I have also somebody who was a probation officer, quit my job, started a community interest company. So that's why I'm doing this video, because I want to show you what that entails and what is possible to maybe inspire other people to do the same as I have. So before I jump into that, please hit the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all my videos on community interest companies and grant funding. So that aside, let's get into it. So what is a community interest company? So I've got other videos on this channel which already talk about that. So I'm just going to say briefly, a community interest company allows you to be able to come up with an idea for a project in the community that you want to do, and get grant funding. So you can pull down grant funding from National Lottery, Arts Council, Children in Need, lots of other grants pots that you can apply for. So once you've got your funding, you are then able to finance whatever your project is in the community. And you can pay yourself to do work as part of that project. So you can pay yourself as a sessional worker or a project manager, etc. And what impact does that have? So that has a lot of impact on the community that you are serving. So assumingly you've got an idea that would benefit your community or a group of people in your community. So say for example, you've got a project that wants to help homeless people or people with mental health issues, or maybe domestic abuse victims or young people. So whatever your group is, you have a target group and then you see a problem that they have, and you have a solution that you're going to give to solve that. So say there's a lack of youth funding in your area and you have a great idea to run some youth workshops that will maybe train them in, say, financial literacy or life skills or education or whatever it is that they don't already have. So you would then start a CIC, you would apply for funding for your idea, and you would get that funding and then you would run that project. So for most people, those are quite small projects and there's small pots of funding, but you can of course scale that up and of course build a larger, bigger community interest company. But it could just be a small project thing that's just you, mainly you working on, or it could be something bigger that obviously you have different staff working on, that's maybe more of a long-term project. So that aside, let's look at the type of people that I think would be great candidates for setting up a CIC. So as I've already mentioned, I was a probation officer, so that obviously gave me certain skills working with people in the community. And there's lots of other professions out there, such as teachers, mental health nurses, youth workers, police officers, social workers, people who've worked in the care industry, and even some businesses. So you may also be a business owner, but maybe you have a business that has, you can see there's a group of people that can't afford your services. So they're people that maybe, you could gain funding to have like some funding for like a disadvantaged group of people to engage in your services. So I can think of lots of examples for that. So I know a lot of people at the moment doing a lot of home education provisions for obviously all the children now that are educated at home. So for instance, say you've got a group, you may have a profitable business selling that to more affluent parents, but children from more disadvantaged backgrounds can't access your provision. So you could then start a CIC, pull down funding, and then that obviously then gives you money to be able to help the disadvantaged people. So you can see if you're doing really anything in the community and you can see that what you would be doing would solve a problem, then you could gain grant funding and do that. So what are the 3 advantages to quitting your job and setting up a CIC and just going for it? So the first one is that you're going to love what you do because you've designed it. So no more managers, no more work into whatever your employer wants you to do. You're going to be able to do exactly what you want. You're not going to be just stuck at your desk doing a desk job or bogged down with paperwork or whatever else it is that your employer makes you do that you don't like and is not why you got into the job. For most people who work in those kinds of jobs, it's because they wanted to help people, because they want to have impact. So If you're going to love what you do if you start a community interest company because you designed it. You're going to design your hours, you're going to design who you work with, you're going to design everything about your project. So in terms of job satisfaction, you think that minimises your stress, that creates just a lot more happiness and well-being in you. So there's lots of positives there when it comes to happiness in your career. The second reason is what it does to your career. It escalates you up the pay ladder and obviously gives you better experience. So it takes you up a notch from where you are now as an employee, because you are going to be a project manager. So that immediately takes you to project management level. So typically, what are you going to be paid to run a community project? Well, typically a project manager is paid around £349 a day. Now, if you think about what I was earning when I was a probation officer, I think I worked it out when it was around sort of like 160 a day it worked out at. So if you think I'm on over twice that now as a project manager, so that is a massive pay jump. And then if you think what I was at that level in terms of what I can do now, I have gone right up the management scale, but I've gone right up the management scale and gone up the pay scale, but without having to apply and get the job. Instead, I've just created it all of myself. So it's a far better way, instead of waiting around for a promotion, for you to actually, massively gain in your career and obviously also increase your pay. And of course, most of you now, especially with the cost of living crisis, are struggling on pay, especially in a lot of state government jobs. A lot of our frontline workers are underpaid. We all know that. And let's face it, it's not going to, in terms of inflation, the amount they're going to put it up is going to be peanuts, and it's still going to be really difficult for people to live. So this is a much better way to be able to meet those difficulties that you may be experiencing financially, because you'll be able to massively increase your pay. And the third reason is the impact that you're going to have. So if you think about the impact that you have in your job, now I'm sure many of you have a great impact in your jobs. Teachers do amazing jobs, police do amazing jobs. But if you are running your own project, again, it's a project you love, it's a target group that you've chosen, and you've got a solution of how you're going to impact their lives, and you're going to put something on that's going to be really beneficial, you're having such great impact, and you've got more time to spend on that, because you're not spending time on whatever the paperwork in your job was, or whatever the meetings were, and all those other things that you have to get tied up with when you're employed. So instead, you'll be able to basically concentrate on grassroots work, really great face-to-face grassroots work, really beneficial community work. So that is a huge gain to your community and to the people that you're going to be benefiting. And it's great for you to know that you are going to be having all this impact in your community. So those are my 3 reasons of why I think you should consider quitting your job and starting a community interest company. So if you want to know more about that, then please jump over to my website, where I've got a course called How to Start a CIC and Get Funded in 4 months that will fast track you through the whole process, help you not make any mistakes, really escalate and really shorten the amount of time it's going to take you to get funding. You can also book a consultation with me, or if you just want to have a chat and see if your idea is viable, then you can just jump into my chat box on my website and just ask me a question to say, does this sound like a good idea? Am I on the right lines? And I will tell you the truth. I do sometimes tell people that no, that won't work. But more often than not, people do have great ideas, and I help around 50 people every month start their CICs and grow their CICs. So it's definitely possible. There's lots of funding out there. So do give it a go.